Even the new announcement is like so loud. Even if you didn't, I think that we could still have some cool conversation about it because they're really good chapters. They all are. They're all really good. But first, quickly announcements, and I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and see if anyone has any questions. I just uploaded our team calendar to the Facebook banner in our leadership page to remind everybody, still ongoing every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. We have we call them new coach mentorship calls, and those are the ones that I lead with Melissa and Abby. But everyone's welcome. Everyone is welcome because we're all learning to build a business, right? And those are really helpful to ask any questions, so on and so forth. So those are always 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. And then every Sunday in June, I might take off Father's Day. I'm trying to think. But for the most part, every Sunday in June at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, I am doing coach webinars. So if you ever have anyone interested in coaching, I'll be doing those. They're usually around 45 minutes. And then we have National Wake Up Call Monday morning for those who want extra training. I don't recommend it for everybody. But the Slay Squad calls are always really, really awesome. And I usually post about those. And those are all 15-star diamond coaches that are sharing tips. Those are on Mondays at 5. Trying to get all the times right in my brain. Anyways, it's all in the banner. And then we've got our team calls. We have the Summer Strong sale continued for this month. So all challenge packs are $20 off still. Are you okay? Let me ask you this. Any questions about stuff going on in June? You okay, sister? I tried to put it all in one spot on the banner. I'm sorry. Let me grab the baby really quick. What happened? Oh, goodness. You knocked her over? Yeah. Okay. Say hi, everybody. The only other thing that I want to mention is the Success Club, Success Club retention points. A lot of you had one, and then we all got them taken away. So those are supposed to come back by, I think, tomorrow. So I will keep you posted if I hear any of that. For those of you who don't know what that is, they do these months where you can earn Success Club points by having through retention, essentially from the previous month's clients ordering. And when you reach, I think it's 180 PV of retention points, meaning your customers from the previous month order again, and all of their customer orders or coach orders equal at least 180, you'll get an extra Success Club point. So they're increasing that this month in June to 2, so you can earn 2 Success Club points for retention, essentially. So it's just a good incentive to check in with your customers who you had. When I say customers, I mean coaches too, but your customers who signed up the previous month and see how they're doing, how they're liking their stuff, and so on and so forth. So that is that. Any business related questions before we jump into the chapters? That's all. Elena, I think what Felicia was talking about is on Thursdays. I was saying on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, we have new coach mentorship calls. I think that's what Felicia was saying. You should jump on.
Okay, I was just reading that and I'm like, but I am on.
I know.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I think that's what she was talking about.
Yeah. It was.
Okay, cool. Let me pull up my notes real quick. Baby, this is not going to be fun with you trying to pull these out of my ear. Oops. Not let me minimize the screen. How are you guys liking this book? Have you had some like aha moments?
I love it. It's like perspective for me. It like makes me have to take it like an outside. Like that's why I'm taking a little bit longer because I really want to answer the questions, and it takes time for me to really like reflect and so but I like it because it's perspective. It's good
Yeah.
perspective for me for sure. So,
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I'm with you there. Okay.
I'm just getting into it. So I'm finally I had an extra day off because of Memorial Day. So I feel human again.
Yay! I know this has been such a huge shift in schedule for you and all that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I hired some men to clean my house. They were supposed to be here at 8:30. They're still not here, but hopefully it works out because I'm like, even once a month, like I just feel like my house is just a mess, and that just always makes it harder for me to focus on other things.
Yeah. Sorry. Liam's over here. He's got these blue light glasses.
Oh, I love them.
He just likes to wear them. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Bubba. Okay, so going into chapter 10, the law of connection. I feel like these two were similar for me. They're, different but similar. So in summary, he basically tells us that you can't move people to action unless you first move them with emotion. So I wanted to just start there and ask you guys, what does this mean in your perspective? What does this mean for our marketing and our connection before inviting people to join us? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's like how we talked before about how we want to be really genuine and transparent, like in when we're posting on social media, and we would just really want to share our journey, because through sharing our journey is going to help people relate to us, and then we'll be able to connect with them because our followers will want to comment on what we're doing on our posts, and then we'll be able to make connections through that, just through being relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. What do you, oh, go ahead, Felisa.
So I definitely agree with you. That was one of the things I wrote down, was being, relatable is the way to connect to more people without going into somebody's inbox and chatting with them. But I think for me, and this has been something that I feel like since I came back to coaching, and really, and I referred to what you said to me early on often, where you told me to lead with love. And that's kind of how I run my business, is that I'm connecting with people. Yes, it would be amazing if I inspire them to start a health and fitness journey. And if the conversation goes in that direction for one reason or another, but that ultimately I'm just looking to broaden my touch, like just to connect with people on a level where they know that, hey, I like her, she's got good vibes, she cares. And one of the things that I loved is I have actually taught people who still have not signed up with me, but who have said that that's how I come across, as sincere and genuine, and like I truly care about people. And so I must be doing that right.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's such one of the most powerful things that we can embody and teach new coaches is impact people, show up on social media regardless of their decision. Reach out to them and invite them regardless of their decision, just because of exactly what you just said. Just because our number one mission is to make people's lives better. Even if they don't sign up with us, that's our number one mission. And it's so fulfilling, right, to have any kind of inspiration in people's lives. And when you're your own billboard, and this is how I look at social media personally, which is why it doesn't affect me in a negative way, like it affects some people, is to me, it's my billboard. Like, it's my responsibility, my calling, my opportunity that I get to put a smile on someone's face every day, whether that's through humor, of literally, I don't know if anyone saw in my stories yesterday, I was sitting in this exact spot and I was talking, and literally my son above me peed off of the top balcony and was like, I'm like, why is there water raining down right now? And there was pee coming off of the top balcony right over my head. And I like, okay, well, this is my life right now, you know?
Life with boys.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. But like, if I can make people laugh or smile with that, or with a word of encouragement, or like I just posted like a prayer on my feed, and however I can make someone's life better, however you can make someone's life better, what a gift. Like, what an opportunity that is for us right now. Because when we consistently show up that way and we make that connection, when someone's looking to get healthier or they're struggling with their workouts or whatever, guess who they're going to come to? They're going to come to you because you formed that connection with them through what are you doing? Through being consistent and showing up, that you care, that you mean it, that you could make a positive difference in their life if they let you work with them, I think. And that's, for me, this question, that would be my answer, is how do we form connection? It's through that vulnerability, through talking about when we miss a workout, through talking through how hard things are, but how we're okay, how hard things are sometimes, but how we're determined to figure it out. And that's been very much a season for me right now with, as you can tell, this is not how I like to be professional and running business calls with my boob out and kids around. But I know someone else is trying to figure that out there, so I might as well try and figure it out so I can help them out. Anyways, trying not to flash you guys. No promises. Anyways, that connection piece for me, I think, is just it is so important and so powerful in everything that we do. All right, let me go back to my notes here really quick.
Yeah, I like the quote. He says, "When people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care."
Yes.
It's so true. And I feel like that's leadership in general. Like, even like you're talking about the inner circle and like everything as people, you can be a super rich and successful person in business, but your employees, the people who are under you, they're not going to be loyal to you if you don't show them that you care.
Yep. I totally agree with you. How powerful is that though for new coaches, right? How many times and I was the same way. When I was new, I felt like, well, I don't really want to like put myself out there or lead anything because I don't know what I'm doing. And I get that. There's an element to that. But it really isn't about that, because I know people who've been in the health and fitness industry for decades, or even Beachbody for 10, 12 years, and they know a lot about it, but they don't take this step for the connection, and they don't. Yeah. So it really doesn't matter if you care and you're willing to put yourself out there and learn what you need to do to lead other people to live better lives. That's really all you need. And the other stuff comes, like, it's important to learn the other stuff too. But I loved the quote, "If you want someone on your side, don't try to convince him, connect with him." I was like, oh, that's good. So how many people, when they are on social media, they're trying to convince people that Shakeology isn't expensive. They're trying to convince people that it's worth it. They're trying to convince people to buy a challenge pack. And if that's your approach, Madison, you're going about it all wrong, and it's going to be exhausting, and it's not sustainable, and it's not going to bring you joy. Trying to convince people of things is never going to bring you joy. Instead, you connect with your audience. You connect with, I didn't realize you guys can see my face. You connect with the reason, like the problems that they have, right? That's where we've talked about speaking through your story. Share your story. Why do you share your story? Because people will see themselves in you. So when I share about postpartum journey, I share that because I'm connecting with other women who are struggling on the postpartum journey. that's how we connect. I'm not trying to convince them to buy a challenge pack to get like to lose baby weight. I'm connecting with them through story. And if we have that kind of marketing shift of connecting with them through your workouts, don't just take a sweaty selfie and say, I did a workout today. What did that workout do for you? Because you want to share what it could do for someone else, you know? It's like that really effective way of not preaching at them and saying, you need to get your butt out of bed earlier and you need to do this and you need. I've tried it with my husband and it doesn't work. I'm just kidding. But going first and like sharing, this is what helps me. This is what makes me feel better. When I'm feeling really fatigued and exhausted mentally, this is what I do. That's what a coach does. We go first, right? We're a product of the product, and then we share that with other people. You've heard it a bajillion times, but I think for some people it hasn't quite clicked yet what that looks like and why we do that. Because how many of you, I don't want someone preaching at me telling me how to fix my problems all the time. Like that's not really, I don't respond well to that. I don't know if any of you are similar, but like if someone tries to give me parenting advice when I didn't ask for it, even if I am struggling, sometimes I have a hard time hearing that, right? And it's the same in health and fitness. People have a hard time hearing it. They don't necessarily want to be preached at. They want to be shown. And I think that that's, to me, this chapter was like, yeah, drive that home, like that point home, how powerful it is. Let's see. Okay, so he had said the stronger relationship you form with followers, the greater the connection you forge, and the more likely those followers will be to want to help you. So here's a question for you guys. As coaches, the goal is to get more followers. It's kind of a weird word to me, but more followers, more supporters, more clients, and more coaches to develop them into leaders. That's our goal, right? Because the more people we have, the greater our impact. Especially the more coaches, working coaches we have, the greater our impact, the greater impact our teams are going to have. From your marketing, whether that's in person or on social media, how are you establishing connection with people so that they want to support what you're building and where you're going? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I saw you unmute yourself, so I was waiting for
Go,
you.
Sarah.
So I was just gonna say, again, being vulnerable. I did my first like before and after photo, and it took a lot for me to post that. And so I think that that's like the step one is for sure like being vulnerable and showing those things to connect with the people that you want, because I would, for instance, my social media, if you look at it, if you come to my page, you're only going to see a good version of me, and you're only going to see me kind of like in shape because I'm naturally kind of thin. And so, and then I have to actually like eat a lot and lift really heavy weights in order to get any results that I'm looking for. And so, but you wouldn't be able to tell that just by going to my page. And so the before and after picture, I feel like was really like me putting myself out there and being vulnerable with that. And I'm still working on it for sure, like sharing the days that I'm struggling. Like yesterday was a tough day for me, and so I didn't even really interact on social media, but really I should have took that as a time to go on and say like, man, I was expecting the first of the month to be this for me and it wasn't. And, you know, and I should have used that as an opportunity. And I recognized today as I was reflecting in the morning that I probably should have been more transparent. So today I probably will like have that kind of clarity and say like, you know, my goal was to do this and I didn't. And yeah, but I definitely feel that like sharing the journey, like we've just been talking about, is the way that we're going to be able to connect with more amounts of people. I mean, I actually got my half sister to sign up, and she's like super motivated, and well, at least she seems to be super motivated. And that really came from the before picture because we don't have a very close relationship. She was actually adopted out, and so we're not very close. But for her to reach out and generally be and feel comfortable to reach out because of that before picture, because without it, she would have never reached out because she only like if I was to just show my progress, there's no way that she would have felt comfortable to reach out. It was the dimples and the cottage cheese and the legs that really made her be like, yes, I definitely like I want to change like and feel comfortable to reach out. So yeah, that's my
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I was just gonna say, I feel like for quite some time there, I was doing really well with the connection part, but because of my recent um, change in gig, I just haven't felt. I've just felt there's like no time, and like there is, but there's no time where I feel like I have something to give, if that makes sense. Because there's difference. Like there's time in the day. There definitely is, but where I feel like I am in that space to give, and I feel, and this is going to sound totally kooky probably to you guys, but I do feel like even in our words via typing, that our energy comes through. And even when you think you're being like super sweet and or you're being nice, like it just, I feel like it's not going to be as genuine, or like it's not going to come across as me if I'm not feeling it. So I have I just gave myself time, and realized that now I need to kind of, and my social media has suffered because of it, Instagram especially. And so I need to figure out like now, okay, how to go back in and start connecting again to people, not just because of Beachbody, but because I do miss that. Like on there, I do miss, people, meeting new people and connecting. There's been a very weird vibe on my social media lately. Like I honestly think I was getting hit on by somebody I followed, a woman. And I'm like, yeah, this just feels weird. Like I think I have to exit this conversation. So like I totally just, I don't know. But I'm feeling great about June, because June is our birthday month. Woo-hoo. And I think that I definitely feel a little bit more like my home space is more where I want it to be. And I don't know how many of you guys are like that, but if I'm not right here, I'm not right here. So, but I think in general, I'm pretty good at that part.
That's awesome. I'm really proud of you. And I think this is something I want us all to acknowledge really quick too, because Sarah mentioned it too. I think it's I think everyone will probably have different opinions on this. In my perspective and opinion, I think it's important when we're struggling to take time. I think it is important to take time. It's important to like process our thoughts. It's important to reflect. It's important to identify like what's going on, because sometimes we just feel frustrated or we're just having a bad day. And at least for me, I know I have these days and I don't exactly know why. I'm just like mad, or I feel frustrated. Frustrated has been a big thing for me in the last several months. And it's been really important for me to identify why, and to sit down and be like, okay, where are these feelings coming from? Why am I feeling this way? What am I really angry about? And to like bullet point those, because then when we identify the problem, then we can say, okay, what do I have control over that I actually can change? And what don't I, that I need to just let go because I can't change it. I can't change the way it's going. Once you do that process and you identify, this is my problem, this is what I'm going to do about it, then I feel like that's kind of the point where it's powerful to come into social media and say, this is what I've really been struggling with. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it in the moment either, but I think it's a healthy thing for us to take the time, because we're in this for the long run. Like I want us to be in this lifestyle for the long run and not burn ourselves out every single second of the day sharing our lives with people. I don't think that's the big goal. But that's for me, this is where the 30 worthy challenge came in, because I needed something different. What I was doing wasn't working, and I was feeling frustrated, and I was being inspired by the 75 hard, but I knew that I couldn't, like, that would not be good for my family for me to do that, or my own mental sanity. So I found a problem, or I found a solution to the problem that I was having, and that's where my social media posts came out. And now I'm talking through my journey in this and how it's helping the problems that I had before, like the frustration. I just this morning I shared, I felt accomplished last night, and I don't remember the last time I felt accomplished, if I'm being honest. Like for me, I've like the never ending to-do list of things that keep stacking on and piling on and piling on is what I felt like really fatigued by, mentally. I know I share that because I'm sure you guys can relate. And so that's kind of my best advice in this area, if it's helpful at all, when you're struggling, is to take the time and then you come back with the solution, but you still are vulnerable and connecting with the problem that you've been having. That's how we form that connection. There's vulnerability, but you're offering value in it because you're saying, this is how I'm helping myself. If this would help you, do this with me. And again, that comes back to I think the foundation of what we do, in coaching.
I agree with you, Jessica. I was actually going to tell Sarah that I don't think she necessarily needed to get on yesterday, that today is probably better, because I feel like sometimes when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it and you're just like totally drowning by it or just encompassed by it, that it is better to take that little bit of time. And, just from a coach that's been around and who felt like she needed to be on social media not every second of the day, but skipping a day is not going to kill your business. Not being on there for, I don't know, 2 weeks when you're on there every day, all of a sudden might hurt your business a little bit, which I found out. But I mean, not necessarily. I just, it's more like you were like saying, Jessica, I'm trying to figure out how now my business works for me, because I am going to have to schedule my stuff, and I'm going to have to figure out when I'm going to post everything. And it's actually kind of interesting because Ashley Shaw, I still use her, and they actually changed the way they do their posts now. And I'm glad, because it's not scheduled, this is day 1, 2, 3, 4 of the month. These are the topic type of posts. And this is the day to schedule those posts. Pick one from this group.
Oh, cool.
That resonates. So it's more about like what you're feeling that day,
awesome.
Which is where what I need, but I also need that person to kind of catalyst, especially right now in this busy time. But I completely agree with you. We have to take time.
I think what you said was really spot on too, Felisa, in how you used to run your business will not work now. It doesn't mean that you can't work it. It's just, it won't work now. So then you're pivoting, and then now you can come back with a little bit of a renewed mind and spirit and say, okay, I'm kind of recharged. This is what I've learned about change in my life recently. How many of you have done things in the past? Because this applies to fitness too, right? How many people, I used to be a college athlete and work out 3 hours a day in the gym. That doesn't work for me now. I'm teaching women how to pivot in business and in life. And that could be a tagline for you. As you're doing it, you're teaching them. I'm teaching you how to run a side business because I have to learn how to run this on the side. I can't do it full time. And that goes back to this chapter. It's connecting specifically to busy women who still want to have something on the side for income, but also for community and fulfillment, And that is what you're now a specialist in, whereas in before you did it more full time. So you weren't speaking necessarily to these women. So it's a totally different avenue. And this is where, honestly, I'm a firm believer that our problems serve us. If we allow them to, our challenges really do serve to shape and mold us into who we really want to be, if we allow them to. Sorry, that was a tangent.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just so good, right? I just love this chapter because I think it serves us in so many ways. It all comes down to this, is connecting to people and using our problems to connect with people. because nobody likes a know-it-all goody two-shoes who's perfect at everything. That's just annoying. Okay, I love it. So towards the end of this chapter, he talks about the 8 steps of how to connect with people. So, and I typed those out. I'm gonna post my notes in the event page as well. But I just wanted to highlight that the number one way that you connect with people is to first connect with yourself. And he says you must know who you are and have confidence in yourself if you desire to connect with others. And I thought that was so true, because if we don't know who we are, it's similar to like a niche market in a sense. And you're trying to connect with everyone, you're going to realize real quick there's people you do not want to connect with. And that is not who you are. So I know who's going to connect with me, who I want to connect with, who's going to form into my inner circle, right? In the next chapter that we're leading into. And I wanted to highlight that because I thought that was really key. Any other thoughts or things that you guys wanted to share from the connection chapter?
One of the things that it's something I know, but it's something that I think I needed to revisit, was the focus on them, not yourself.
Yeah.
Especially like right now, with everything that I'm going through, I have been very focused on myself. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, but now trying to, like you said, pivot in my business, I need to remember that, while yes, this is what I'm going through, that don't just get on social media and say, oh, I'm going through this.
Right.
That's it. Like you gotta have more. Like, okay, how can I help you? Are you going through this too? This is what I found. Let me know if this helps. Adding value for them, focusing on them and their struggles through telling them that you've gone through it. Not just, have a solution, I guess. Don't just present a problem.
Yeah.
Have a solution for them, because your followers are going to be going through this stuff too. But and I got to change my hashtags. I just realized that, like, hashtag side gig, hashtag, like I got to change that stuff. Right. Like, but that one was for me, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in our own world that we forget that other people are going through maybe worse, or that sometimes you can actually benefit more and heal by lending a hand to somebody and helping someone else feel better. So that one was kind of big for me to kind of see again.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I had written that down too. I thought that was really powerful and for all of us. And I had written down, if you're letting fear or your insecurities stop you, note this, that your fear is you focusing on you, not others. Right? Like if we're letting our own stuff stop us from making a bigger impact on other people, that's us being prideful. And I've never thought of it that way before. Like, I don't remember the last 6 months or so, but it really, like, that's us being more self-aware than aware of how we can serve others. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Thanks, Lisa. Also, the exercise in the back of this chapter is really powerful on getting more clarity on your thoughts on yourself as a leader. Like that exercise is super good. So I encourage you to do that if you haven't. I actually posted that in the event page, because I think that's a really important one for us to do, and super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the last one, how likable am I? All I did was put because, like, I don't know. I would love to say I'm extremely lovable, but I know I got my moments. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with that, leave that one alone.
Right? It's so uncomfortable to talk about ourselves, but I think it's so important for us to identify who we think we are. But then in that, right after the exercise, it says to ask 3 people to answer those questions about you too. And that's also really powerful, because it helps you see yourself. It is totally.
You have to ask somebody who's gonna be honest with you too, though.
Agreed.
I agree. If you just ask anyone, they're just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're amazing."
Right. So going to that, like, your inner circle, which we're going to talk about next. Asking your inner circle, which, and if any of you struggled, like, who is my inner circle? I'm like, my mom, my husband. Oh, I think I have a problem here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually had that problem for the next chapter too, like sitting there, was talking about leaders. And I mean, like, you're one of the only leaders, and not the last chapter, but I was talking about, who do you see who that's, excels at leadership or whatever. Like, I was trying to think outside of you because you're an obvious one, but I was trying to like, okay, so who in my world, who else do I look up to? And I don't know. I think it's really partly to do with the time period we're in too.
Yeah.
Because we are just finally coming out of COVID and we're not really around people. So we're really not seeing people in their element and being reminded of how amazing people are or how much of a leader someone can be, except for like with us on our team calls. And so that was hard. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't have enough good influences on me because I can't think of anybody outside of you and Autumn. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I could definitely relate to that. I recently I think I read a post. You guys follow at all Ashley McClellan? She's spoken to our team
Sometimes,
before.
yeah.
But, she's one of the ones that is so inspiring about 75 Hard. I love her because, well, she's now lost over 100 and something crazy pounds, but she's a multiple time elite coach, and she was one while being very overweight. There's something about her that's very magnetic, and talking about the law of connection, she is very good at that. So if you want to see a great example of it, I highly recommend just following her on Facebook or Instagram. And she's one that definitely identifies like this is who she wants to connect with, and she's just really awesome person to be inspired by. But she was saying, when someone asked her, how do you stay inspired and motivated to do 75 Hard, because I think she's on like her 3rd or 4th round of it or something crazy. And she said, I ask myself how my good friends, and she tagged them, what did she say?
Yes,
Something about, like, how they would react if I told them that I only did a 30-minute workout, because you're supposed to do 45-minute ones. And, or how they would judge me on if I push myself hard enough or something like that. She said, now, don't get me wrong, they have no idea who I am, but I listen to their podcast daily because of their influence in my life. Because of, I like what they stand for. I like their morals. I like the message that they preach. And that's who I want to be. I want to be at that level. And so I measure myself by their standards, even though they have no idea who I am. And it got me thinking, and I've read this before in other book with Brendan Burchard. And he talks about, like, so many highly influential, successful people talk about, you are most like your 5 closest people around you. So pay attention. And when you don't have strong leaders around you, you don't know anyone, then that's where things like podcasts can be really helpful, because they're still speaking into your head every day if you listen to it every day. Or if you're listening to, and the adverse, the reverse is also true, right? If you're listening to toxicity every day, if you're listening to drama every day, gossip every day, guess where your head's going to be, So I think that that's hard, and I think that it's important. And I think that is one way that we can, in the interim, until we find those people to, like, in person, be those people to aspire us, we find the podcast and we choose to put those voices in our head every day and make those our levels of influence, our influential people in our life, until we can find those other people.
That's funny that you say that, because I was at work on Saturday or Sunday, and there's these ladies that came in, and it was funny, they're from Vacaville, and they walk in, they didn't have their mask on, so I have to tell them, put your mask on. We're still in that, We're still doing that. And I was like, oh, where are you guys from? Because I figured they were from like a state where you didn't need it. And they're like, oh, Vacaville. And I was like, oh, well, then you ladies know better. Like don't make me tell you. But I was like, oh, and I was looking at them. The one in particular, it was one of those things where I was kind of like, God, I wish I looked like her, but do I? Like she was super, super muscular. Like we're like, I was like, no body fat. Like I was like, whoa. But they all looked kind of fit. And I was kind of like, I don't know, eyeing them, like looking at them, kind of. They did their thing. They come back, and I got to talking with one of them because they were. She bought something, and the next thing I find out through talking to them, they just got done with the CrossFit competition, and I started chatting with them, and they're like, "Oh, you should come. You know, you seem like our kind of people. Like you should come over to CrossFit, to the gym or whatever." Now, I'm not a CrossFit person. I don't feel like I don't feel like it's necessarily who I am, but at the same time, I'm sitting there going, you know what? I am not around anybody who
Yeah.
believes, other than you guys through Zoom, who
Yeah.
believes in fitness. I
Yeah.
am not, none of my inner circle is like me. Like maybe I should join the freaking CrossFit gym just to be
Yeah.
around those people.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, hopefully I wouldn't necessarily drink the Kool-Aid, but you know what I'm saying? Like it, I was like, I need to fix that. That's not good.
Yeah. I think, have you done it before? Have you done it?
No, and I should try it before I judge it. My only thing about CrossFit is that I feel like to some degree it's a little unsafe. And like I don't, yeah. So that's my biggest thing
Some
with it.
gyms, 100%.
Yeah.
But at least you know. So
Yeah.
here's my thoughts on that. With your personality, I think you will love it. And in that community, like your people in CrossFit, for the most part, all of them are super driven. But you could bring an element that most CrossFit gyms need too. You know, so I don't know. I think on two sides, it could be good for you.
Yeah.
And
I actually have a
crap, and most of them are drinking crap. And
yeah. I have a friend who actually does it, and she actually is one of the ones that constantly reaches out to me. And she's in a different state, but she constantly reaches out to me, tells me how much I inspire her and how badass I am. And I'm like, but you do CrossFit. So yeah, I think I might. But that was like along with what you were saying though. Like
yeah,
it didn't, and it's dawned on me before, but it didn't dawn on me until I saw the group of women who all do this together, hanging out. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to be around people, not necessarily who are cookie cutter like me. I don't want our personalities necessarily be the exact same, but who have that similar interest, that dedication. So
do it. That's your homework.
yeah,
You're gonna go check out a CrossFit gym.
go to CrossFit.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. So really quick, as we're wrapping up on, we'll talk about the law of the inner circle. I just had a couple things I wanted to share and then see what you guys thought. So he talks about a leader's potential is determined by those closest to him, and that when reading about oh my gosh, what's his name? Cyclist.
Lance Armstrong.
Goodness gracious. Yes, thank you. My mom didn't even read the book. She knows what I'm talking about. Lance Armstrong, and how he talks about he would never have won if it wasn't for his team. Like really the heaviness, or the I don't know what the other word would be, but like the reality that us as a leader, we will never reach our fullest potential unless we have a strong inner circle. So that's something we should pay attention to, right? But as I was reading this, I also think it's equally important for us to ask ourselves, whose inner circle are we in? Like am I a part of Liz's inner circle? If so, am I contributing to her? Am I lifting her up? Or am I someone who is pulling down others around me because of my whatever? So both who's in your inner circle and whose inner circle are you in? I think those are important questions for us to ask ourselves. Am I making people braver, or am I making them question their acts of courage because I'm too afraid. You know what I mean? Like, is my example and my lifestyle making people better or making them question their purpose? I think that that's a really important thing that each of us, no matter what level of experience or business or leadership that you're in, is important for us to ask ourselves. Okay. So we kind of talked already about our inner circles and like reflecting on that. Let me ask you this question. How will your potential be affected if you don't form a strong inner circle, or if you don't change the people that are around you? You guys have any further thoughts on that?
Well, I know for me, I really started changing a lot once I joined Beachbody. And even though I'm not physically hanging around you guys, just the chats that I do have, like, with Felisa or with any of the girls just in the bod groups. So those connections that I've made, and then that put me on a path to start following, like how you said on Instagram, or like when you're
Yeah.
listening to a podcast, having those voices in your head. So I found the people who inspire me to be a better person and to want to make better choices in my life. So I found that that's kind of helping me, push me in a different direction, a better direction than, when before, if my inner circle are just people who are more negative and they're just not giving me what I need, that really does make a difference, I think, in your life and in your state of mind and self-esteem and all of that. So yeah, so basically just this community has really helped, I feel like, change me.
That's so awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's so awesome. I love it.
Yeah, she signed up not wanting to do it, period.
Me too.
Well,
Like,
when somebody asks you to sign up for something and you're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
what do you want me to sign up for something? And I was a person who I didn't like working out. I ate candy bars and drank soda for breakfast. I was always eating fast food, always eating out. And that was my thing. Like, the greasier, the better. Like, don't show me that's fat free or no sugar. No, get it away from me, and it's just like the way that I've changed is just insane.
Okay, so have you shared this publicly? Like, recap
Uh,
what you just said?
Not exactly to that extent. Like, I remember I did, post something before. I don't know if I've said it like that, maybe like little pieces of that, but I probably should, like,
Yep.
yeah, not in that way.
Little
She
Winnie.
hasn't.
Okay,
Huh?
so I'm gonna challenge you.
Okay.
This is your today's inner circle of these other three, inner circle of 4. I'm gonna challenge you today to do a video, whether it's a live video or you record it and you upload it, and just simply share that where you were before, exactly what you just said. That's so relatable. You're gonna connect with so many people, and where you're at right now, like, share where you were. What have you experienced so far? So, like, what has your transformation been? When you say, like, this community has changed you, what does that mean to you? And then tell them why you're so excited about where you're going. So, where you were, what's happened, where you're going, and just use that simple structure and share that today. And then I'm going to encourage you to continue, like, in your Instagram stories when you're talking about drinking your Energize, and you could say, I remember when in the morning I used to drink whatever it was, I don't know. And then as you're sharing what you're eating, not too long ago I was going to McDonald's for lunch every day because I thought the greasier the better. I was repulsed by anything that was healthy. Look at where I'm at now. If I could change, you could change. That's where the connection piece comes in, that you're going to inspire and help so many people that I could never help because I don't have the same story as you. And that's why this coaching works for so many people, because we all have different stories. So we relate and connect to different people.
Yeah,
Okay.
and maybe even Elena talk about how it came to you at the right moment. because Elena was going through, she lost her job, and COVID and everything. And I feel like I'm speaking for you, but just to kind of I feel like it gave you purpose.
Yeah. Definitely.
And because it's just from what we've talked about, I feel like you felt lost, and I felt like that gave you something to focus on. And that's one thing people don't realize, I think, is that fitness and the health and nutrition, it's not just about looking good or whatever. It actually gives me something to focus on, it's positive in my life that we have control over. And that's one of my biggest things that it's given me. But yeah, I think it would be a good video for you for sure.
100%.
You in?
I'm in.
Okay.
Now we need to think of something for Sarah to do. So I gotta do a CrossFit. Elena's got to do a video. Sarah's gonna write her post about yesterday.
There we
Oh,
go. There we go. I like that. That's awesome. Okay, let me see. I think that was pretty much it. I really liked the last thing is at the end of that chapter, he says, he literally tells you how to determine if someone belongs in your inner circle, and there's 5 questions. Do they have high influence with others? Do they bring a gift to the table? Do they hold a strategic position? Do they add value to you and your organization? And do they positively impact other inner circle members? And I think that last one is really important for us. Do they positively impact other inner circle members? To think about when you're bringing people into your team, but also to ask yourself, am I having a positive impact on our team, on the people around me? And that's something for me to think about with my upline. On, like, me and Liz have a really close relationship. I'm not super close anymore with a lot of her team members. How can I be a more positive influence on them? How can I, help serve deep within our organization? How can I personally do that? So I think that those things are important, especially because we're all going to get to see each other in person here until next month, which I'm so excited about, and to really cultivate those relationships. I will tell you guys one story really quick before we jump off. I couldn't remember. I don't think I told you guys this. A couple months ago, I think it was, I had someone reach out to me from YouTube who previously had reached out to me from YouTube via email saying, I want to join your team. Can I join your team? I want to be a coach. I'm ready to do this. I'm also a coach, like in health. I'm also a health coach. And I was like, oh, awesome. Thinking face value, this person will be awesome. Fills out my form, and I think I set up share card. Okay, well, I have to wait another month, whatever. Okay, no problem. I got a random phone call asking me to be a reference for somebody for their job interview with this name. And I was like, I don't know that. I don't know someone with that name. So I'm asking the person who's calling me from this company. They're telling me, like, you don't know so-and-so. I'm like, I've never heard that name before. I'm going through my phone. Like, I feel horrible that I forgot somebody's name who used me as a reference. Like, is my brain that bad? Turns out it was this girl who I've never talked to ever in my life. And I was like, that's so weird. And I just kind of let it go. Well, she reached out to me again. Was like, hey, I want to join your team. Can I be on some of your team calls, please? Like, when do I get to join your team calls? And I'm like, well, let's get on the phone first. Actually, I said, can we get on Zoom first and see if you'd be a good fit, if we'd be a good fit for each other. Zoom didn't work, and so I had to talk to her over the phone, and it was really bizarre. She's like, yeah, I'm a coach. I'm like, oh, did you go through a certification? No, I just call myself a coach, and I wrote a book on how to lose weight, and I want to self-publish it on Amazon. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's your approach? She goes, I lost over 50 pounds, and this is what I do. I just eat really, really small amounts of food, and I drink a small amount of water, and every 2 weeks, I do a cleanse. Like, you can go to Walmart and get a cleanse. Every time you hit a plateau, that's what you do. And I'm like, okay, well, do you have any experience with Beachbody? Because our nutrition programs are not in alignment with what you do. And I don't know if this will be a good fit for you. Oh, I know it'll be a good fit for me. Okay, well, are you willing to, like, think outside the box and try something different? And here in my brain, like, red flags are going off. I've never seen this person before. Like, they're face. And it was just I said, why don't we do a trial and you could be my customer first and we'll see if we're a good fit for each other. Well, I want you to be my coach and I really know this is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, so let's be a customer first before I add you to my team page. And I think it's important. Anyways, long story short, I ended up not taking this person on as a client because I'm very protective of our team at this point. And I think that it's important for us all to remember and identify like who is in our inner circle. Those are the people I want to speak to. There's other hardworking, good women out there that want something like this. They just don't know it exists yet. So what do I need to say to attract those people? And it's okay to be selective in that. I know I am not the person that's going to send a text message every single day to everyone. I can't. I have 3 kids. I know I can't do a ton of one-on-one calls, but I also know I work really hard and I will respond to your messages and that I have provided everything for our entire organization and our team page, that you need. And so if you're a self-starter and you want to do this and you want to support one another, that's awesome. But if you're not about supporting other people, this probably isn't the place for you, So talking about inner circle, I think it's important for us to be selective and to know ourselves first and identify the people that we want in our lives and in our teams. That's my fun story for the day. I'm like, who is this?
It's kind of, yeah, I've come across similar things. It's kind of, yeah. But I was just going to say that I agree with you. So this team has actually had me looking within myself as a member of the team. How am I contributing? What kind of person am I being? And if I'm being extremely vulnerable for a moment, I know we got to go, but I don't always like what I see, feel, think. And that comes more from me needing to realize that someone else's success does not mean I'm not successful or that I cannot be successful, or that because I'm having not I'm going to say a dry spell, but because I'm going through a certain part in my life does not match up to theirs. So they might have an amazing month and my month was just so. That doesn't mean I cannot be happy for that person, or that I won't next have an amazing month, or stop judging my success based on other people's success, and from that them being envious or jealous or mad. It doesn't mean that because someone else is successful that mine isn't coming or whatever. Like, those are feelings I've had to deal with being on this team. And I think at times it has made me revert, like kind of pull away. Not out of spite or anything, but more out of like, okay, I need to like figure out what the heck is going on with me. Like, why am I feeling like this? And this is not good. And I have evaluated that aspect of myself many, many times on this team. And I usually come out positive on the other side of it, like where I can work through it. And I'm like, okay, Felicia, what is really going on here? I mean, just to give you an example, like I saw Amy's Success Club.
I know. She had an amazing month.
And I was like instantly mad, not like at her. No, that's what I'm saying. Not like at her, but like I was angry that wasn't me, that I was like, why am I not having that month? And then I was like, okay, Felicia, I was like, first of all, you don't know what she's doing. Secondly, you've been that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
You've had those months. Yeah, right. And then I was like, and let's be real, like, where have you been for the past month and a half? You've been dealing with your own life, right? Like, you have had other things that you have had to pivot, you have had to readjust, you multiple times, you've been exhausted, you're, all this. And I was like, oh, Lisa, and it's not about that. And, and that's why after this book, I want to read Built to Last again. I started it, but I didn't finish it. because I already know I love his approach, build to last. That's what I want to do. I don't necessarily need to be Success Club 30 like some of these people are every month. I don't care if my team is smaller and strong and small. Like, that's what I want. I want a tight knit group of women who all see the vision and believe in the vision and are also attacking that like I do. Not necessarily exactly like I do, but you know what I mean. So I just kind of being real with you guys.
Yeah, and I
I
appreciate
have I have had to think about how am I contributing. When you brought that up, it kind of made me think about that.
I love that. I'm glad that you said that. And I think that that's a very real, the envy of success is something that everyone at some levels probably felt a little bit, even if it's just for 5 seconds, and you're like, man, I wish that was me. But here's the thing, because you identified it, now you can do something about it. And instead of just waiting for that to happen again, this is where, like, scientifically it's been shown, we create neural pathways in our brain. And so now, what can you do to celebrate other team members' success? What can you do to do the opposite of, instead of like retracting, to shout out Amy publicly? Or this is obviously, I'm just throwing things out there, but whatever that opposite reaction is, and then you create those habits so that you're training your brain that every time you see success in someone else, you're praising them, you're celebrating them, and you're showing this is our team that you're a part of. We collectively, we are successful, we're going big places, we get to learn from each other. Amy's, and she doesn't accept this, I've told her many times, but she's one of the most talented Instagram people that we have on our team. And she's come so far because a year ago, you didn't have one picture of her face on her entire Instagram a year ago. And she's come so far. So what can we do to learn from her? What can we do to celebrate her? And that's not just Amy, but like, and Jamie's come so far as well. And each of you have too, So what can we do to celebrate each other? And then thinking about, Felisa, if you want that strong, smaller, strong team, whatever you just said, how would you want your people to respond when you have two coaches and someone has an SC, like a big successful month, and the other person's feeling down about it? What would you tell them to do? And then, that's a really great way. I've had to do that with myself many times, to teach ourselves, like, okay, what kind of person do I want to be when other people are successful? Because obviously there's room for us all to be successful here and to learn from each other. We're all different. How can we learn from each other and support each other? That's the point of this whole thing, is for everyone to have a spot at the table, for everyone to be successful in our own ways, in our own lifestyles. And success is going to be different for everybody too. It's like Celicia this month, like, I don't know if she's watched the recording, like, blows me away. She hit Success Club, was a top coach recruiter. She had 3 new coaches, and she was on bed rest with her pubic bone separating until she gave birth. She actually, I need to check in with her this morning because she was in the ER last night from she had tissue remaining. They had to do a D&C on her because she was bleeding. So if you guys could be praying for her, but like, she's so on top of it. Like, she's very close to Diamond, and she gave birth and then was in her stories talking about the May 19th call about the Bot Interactive and Cookies and Creamy Shakeology. I'm like, who are you, woman? And that's a whole nother amazing thing, like amazing version of success for her too. So I'm proud of you, and I thank you for sharing that. I think it's really important, to acknowledge those things, and that's how we grow.
Yeah, it just made me look at, it just makes, I feel like that's one of my strengths, is that I am able to reflect on my own self.
Yeah.
And I definitely, that is definitely something. I mean, even, I know we all do this, you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and you see someone's post about something. And I do it like, because I'm very protective of Beachbody. I've been around for so freaking long. Like, I'll see somebody talk about something else that's not Beachbody, and I'll immediately go, "Urgh." And I'm like, Lisa, not everybody's going to do Beachbody. Get on there and tell them, way to go, whatever, like, and it's not because I don't want people to succeed. Like, I totally do. Like, I'm a huge heart. I want everyone to be happy, and I want everyone to succeed in whatever it is they do in life. But it's that more that mama bear, you know, and more that then, you know, the whole Amy thing was more about me. It was like, okay, it was me. I was angry at myself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Angry at myself because I felt like that should have been me. But then I had to, this is where you got to give yourself grace. I had to go, okay, maybe you could have done more. There's probably times where you could have done something and you didn't. But at the same time, I've never had this much going on and I still managed to hit Success Club. I should be proud of myself for that. Like the fact that happened, that was, you know, a law of attraction thing, because to be completely honest with you, I haven't been in my freaking on social media, but I only shared that because of what you said. I didn't mean to take
Yeah.
over the call, but I just,
No, you're good.
you saying who are you and what inner circles are you in? And that made me, you know, kind of think about that. And it is something that we should all think about often.
Agreed. Awesome. Well, thank you, you guys. I'm gonna let you go. I know we're a little bit over, but I thought these chapters were so good, and I appreciate you guys being on and your time. I hope you have a wonderful week. Don't forget to check your coach offices. Tomorrow is payday and promotion day. You have till 9 o'clock tonight. Okay. All
Bye,
right, bye, guys.
guys.
Bye.